The Covenant of Mayors was launched by the European Commission in 2008. And the idea was to engage local and regional authorities to reach the common climate goals. Exactly to have a 20% greenhouse gas reduction by 2020. And also, the idea was to prove that the concept of multi-level governance is a reality. The big surprise was that it actually worked, and it even exceeded all the expectations. The covenant was formed, launched with less than 200 mayors, less than 200 signatories. By today, we have more than 6,600 signatories, covering more than 200 million citizens, and it's expanding in a fantastic way. So, the Committee of the Regions decided to have its own opinion of the future of the Covenant of Mayors because the Commission decided that it wants to relaunch the Covenant, to have 3 new pillars. And the Commission did relaunch the Covenant in October. I want to talk about the 3 new pillars. The one is the new greenhouse gas reduction targets. It's in line with the EU targets, preparing for Paris. Paris talks are going on. But in this opinion, we are aiming a higher target, a 50% reduction of greenhouse gas by 2030. I want to remind you that this is in line with the opinion you adopted earlier in preparation for COP21. Because you always put up the questions, people always put up the questions, okay, we have ambitious targets, that's great, but are they realistic? But I think there is another question we have to put on. The other question is it enough? And it's not enough. What we see, the Paris talks are going on, that the contributions we've seen from the countries and from the big countries are not enough to keep our goal to limit the global temperature rise under 2 Celsius degrees. So if we don't have ambitious targets, if we don't fulfill those targets, it's not about frogs and pandas dying. It's about human lives. It's about 100 millions of people have to change their location because they live in cities, live on coastal parts, and they cannot adapt to the changing climate. And we'll come to the second pillar of the new covenant. The second pillar is an integrated approach of mitigation and adaptation. Mitigation, yes, reducing greenhouse gas emission to stop the temperature rise. Adaptation, yes, because the climate is changing, even if we do a lot, and there are a lot of people live in cities in Europe. 80% of us live in cities, and we have to adapt to the changing climate and the changing situation. The third new pillar is the exporting of this concept to the covenant to become a global movement. It's already beyond the European Union's borders. But in our opinion, what I wanted to stress, what we want to focus on is strengthening the covenant within the European Union. Because the covenant is successful, is present, but there are countries where it's stronger, and you can find some countries where it's slightly present. So for the future and for today, one of our big tasks is to strengthen it within. And for this, there is a suggestion to form a sort of club, Friends of the Covenants, which would be an informal club. Because I don't know how many of you know that 185 members of the Committee of the Regions come from cities who are already signatories of the Covenant of Mayors. And I think it's a perfect idea to have engaged you all who are already in, help engage others who are here and whose cities are not in. And this would be a great tool to exchange experiences, to help visibility and strengthen it all. This would have no extra budgetary burdens. This would be in line with all Committee of Regions activities. About the amendments, there is one additional oral compromise I just want to tell Mr. President. So if we go to the vote and the debate, it's agreed on both parts. So thank you for the floor.